With any growing operation, mistakes will happen. But here are some common grower errors that I find in grow operations. We're talking a little bit more than just kind of spilling the morning coffee on the daily news here. Let's look at some common, and I have them listed here, grower errors. So first off, often growers do not like to admit that they make mistakes, but it does happen. You're allowed to make mistakes. I don't want you to be too tentative and not do anything, but you can only make each mistake once. I don't allow for repeat. So if you make one mistake, you want to definitely make note of that and don't let it happen again. So pruning errors, this is one example. Pruning is often a combination of both an art and a science. And remember, you can only remove plant material once. You can't kind of put it back. You can think of it almost like a haircut. You can always cut the hair off, and yeah, it may grow back, but it's going to take a little while. So you want to decide on a pruning method early on and stick with it for the duration of the growth cycle. You don't want to be switching from one type to another. A lot of growers will read up on one and want to prune that way when they've been kind of training the plant one way, and that can cause some issues long range. That switching midway will reduce the plant efficiency, make it very difficult potentially to prune depending on what you're changing from or to. Under-fertilizing, this can result from a miscalculation, or in some cases growers simply just get cheap. They want to skimp on the total amount of fertilizer to save on cost. Now how much they skimp? Do they go 10% off the recommended, 20, 30, 40, 80% off? That can kind of impact the potential on the plant there. However, especially early in the growth cycle, this can stunt plants, which may offset the growth cycle permanently in damaged plants. In contrast to that, we have over-fertilizing, and this can be a very similar plant problems as under-fertilizing by stunting and damaging of plants. Often this isn't regarded or thought of as being an issue, but yes, over-fertilizing can stunt plants. A lot of times over-fertilizing comes from a miscalculation, or often growers think more is better, so they add and end up doing more harm than good. If the fertilizer is like an ounce to a gallon, they may add an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half, thinking a little more insurance, that'll be good for the plant. But there is a reason why that's an optimum or ideal amount. So you're just wasting money and it could potentially harm the plant or contaminate groundwater. In addition, there's also mishandling of plants. So when moving, you want to take care and handle those plants with care. Be mindful of others that you're working with, as you don't want to do any unnecessary harm to the branches, as this will reduce overall yields if you're breaking branches. Especially if you're moving them from a flower room or from a veg room to a flower room, just be mindful of that shuffling of plants process. Also be careful of the amount of nitrogen fertilizer you add, as this can help make the plants slightly more resilient to damage. In addition, continually adding silicates to the irrigation water can help strengthen the plant structure, making them less likely to break branches. Again, something that can't be added once and fixed, needs to be continually added and kind of accumulated in the plant. But it can help strengthen plants if that does become an issue. But typically, we'll just watch the amount of nitrogen and just be careful with the plants as you're moving them. Transplant shock, this is often a direct result of growers who are trying to rush plants along the production process. There are different types of shock that can occur. Light intensity, when changing the type of light, that can cause some damage, so be mindful of that. Photoperiod, the time of light exposure, flipping the lights can also cause a little stress on the plants. Root transplant shock, when the containers are changed. So just be mindful when you are changing containers, you're trying to do it without disturbing the roots too badly, so that you're reducing the delay or the lag time that plant may have during the transplant process. Lastly, applicator blight, a very common error I see in growers, and this is where a grower sprays the plant for a benefit, but ends up doing more harm, or at least some harm, than just pure benefits. Some possible causes are the wrong dilution rate, product interactions, trying to mix too many products together, applied too hard, with too much force, application made during high light intensity. So if for outdoor application, avoid midday spraying. For indoor, watch mid-light spray, or when the lights just kind of first come on there. A leftover product not properly washed out from the last use, causing potential interactions there. So applicator blight is kind of a funny term for the grower kind of causing the error. So just be mindful of, if you are going to be applying something to the plants, that you are sticking to all the parameters and not causing more damage than good to your plants.